Welcome to Pivot Parenting, where we help parents of teens overcome regret and disappointment to find peace and connection in every situation. I'm Heather Frazier, your parenting expert. Journey with me to discover effective parenting tips, improve family relationships, and build a brighter future for your kids. Buckle up, things are about to get better. Hello, my friend. Welcome to today's episode of Pivot Parenting. It has been a wild few weeks, but I have a win. It feels like a small win up against all the things happening in our world, but a win nonetheless. I would love to share with you. The other night, we were at a friend's house, and we had our 2 teenage daughters, my husband and I, with us. And they were talking to a man, and it was a playful, fun conversation. My daughters were talking about a hypothetical marriage that my 17-year-old was going to enter in and who would be wearing the pants in the family. And my husband and I just were in the room and we were watching, and they were having a grand time talking all about this hypothetical situation. And this man just kind of winked with a glint in his eye and said, "Yeah, but let's be honest, who wears the pants in your family? Is it your mom? Does your mom wear the pants in the family? Like, who makes the decisions?" And yeah, I'm kind of outspoken, so I can see why he would go for me. But my girls both just kind of looked at each other. And they just had this look of confusion and contemplation, and they were genuinely trying to sort out who wore the pants in the family. And they both sort of said at the same time, neither, both of them, they just make decisions together. And this man was impressed. And anyway, it just made me smile inside because I thought, we're doing something right. We're doing something right when in morning scripture study, as my husband is reading to my daughters the Bible verse that men, your wives should submit to you. And he pauses and says, "This is not correct. And if any man demands that you submit to him, run the other way." And so those are my wins for the week, that something is going right in the world. And I hope that things are going right in your household as well, even though they might not be going so well in the world at large. But today we are going to be talking about the second belief in a 6-step belief process that we need to tweak in order to connect better with our parents or in order to connect better with our teens. And these wins that I've had, these personal wins, align in that we don't need our kids to change. We need to change. And I know that this can feel uncomfortable because we are hardwired, you and I, to think we aren't the problem and that it is other people around us that need to change. And then we go and we talk to our hairdresser and we talk to our neighbor and our friend and our sister and our mom and dad, and they agree with us. Yeah, your kid's a brat. They need to change. Or yeah, this situation around us is awful and these people need to change. And yes, that would make life beautiful if we could just dictate how other people behaved. But tragically, that is not the way. And maybe not even tragically. Maybe there's a reason why we can't just pull everyone's puppet strings and make them behave how we think they should. Maybe there's logic to the reason that that's not a thing. Let me go back to years gone by when my oldest were just in the dawn of adolescence. And I would think if they would just listen to me and do what I said, they would be happy. And I know that I wasn't wrong. They would have been happier had they gone to bed on time and eaten their fruits and vegetables and not worried about things that weren't a big deal. I wasn't wrong, but they didn't do that. And I would think if they would just stop fighting, if they would just go to bed on time, they would feel better. I don't know if you have a child that gets extraordinarily nasty when they're tired. We have one in our house. She still doesn't want to listen when I tell her to go to bed on time. Or kids that get hangry and I'm like, just eat something, you'll feel better. But no, they have to just get the rage out of their system in other ways. So this thought pattern of if they would just do this or stop doing that life would be better. And I'm not here to argue that you're wrong. That would be nice. And yet, they still get to lie. They still get to not care about anything. They still get to lay in their bed because they're bigger than you now. And you can't pick them up and put their shoes on and take them to school. So this thought, if my teen could just change, then everything would improve. But all that waiting for them to mature, to listen, to get it, things escalate. They get worse. We get more frustrated. They pull farther away because they know that they are disappointing us and that doesn't feel good to them. And this dynamic is created that's exhausting. And everybody feels unseen and misunderstood. And what happens is both you and your teen see the other person as the dictator, the villain, the bad guy, and yourself as the victim that's being put upon, that's unappreciated. We do everything for our kids. Why can't they just listen to us? That is a victim mentality, and you're painting your kid as the bad guy. And this feels terrible because on one hand, we can't stand our teenager because of what they're doing, but on the other hand, they are our flesh and blood and we love them. And so to hold those two contradictory beliefs is really painful. And what I commonly see parents do, and what I did, is this vicious game of ping pong where parents will go back and forth between aggression to apathy. So yelling, arguing, nagging, nitpicking, and then to throwing up their arms and saying, fine, fail, see if I care. Don't call me when you need help. I'm done. And then they essentially ghost their kid. And that parent, bless their heart, they are trying to find relief. They are trying to find some solid ground of peace to land on. But they never do. And they just go exhaustingly back and forth between these two stances. You might have a glimmer of sunshine here and there where they're happy and everybody gets along, but soon enough, the pattern comes back to haunt. They just are trying to get their kid to do something different. They are trying to finesse a different attitude out of their kid. And they're not seeing the actual problem or solution. Because this is where I used to be. This is where so many of my clients are. And then one day, I realized something that flipped everything on its head for the good. Hi there. I just want to pause and let you know if you are struggling to make sense of your teen's behaviors, emotions are running wild, and you're looking to turn things around to have the family you dreamed of while rocking them to sleep, I would love to talk to you. I want to give you a special, powerful gift. 30 minutes with me, my friend. You'll walk away with more confidence, clarity, and understanding of what the issue is and your next best step in resolving any situation you bring to me. It's completely free. I love families and want to help yours be wildly happy and successful. Book this call by visiting my website, heatherfraser.com. Remember, Fraser is spelled with a Z-I in the middle. And don't worry, the link is also in the show notes. I look forward to meeting and helping you. After I was so exhausted and over it and brokenhearted that all I had ever wanted to be was a mom, and I was failing at it, and my teenagers hated me, what I realized that flipped everything is that I didn't need my kids to play along. I did not need them to change for things to get better. Essentially, I stepped out of that victim-villain paradigm to I am the parent, I am in control of myself, and I can love my child. It doesn't matter what they do or don't do. I freaking love them like crazy. And they're always going to be wonderful to me. And I don't need them to be different for me to feel better. And I know that this might not sound very groundbreaking, and it might sound wild. I don't know. For sure, it is simple, but it is very elegant in its simplicity. And this is how I think now. This is how I approach my life. And it's what I work with my clients on. That our kids, when we try to get them to change for us to feel better, not only are we assigning an adolescent our emotions to manage, which I don't know if you've noticed, but they can't even manage their own very well. Why would we give them ours as well to manage for us? That's a terrible idea. But we could actually model for our kids how to manage emotions by owning and managing our own. And this comes twofold in its benefit. Number one, we feel way better, so our relationship improves. And then number two, we are modeling for our children emotional intelligence. We are teaching them how to be in charge of their own emotions, how to better manage their autonomy and their agency. And it is a beautiful gift because relationships are systems. It's like doing a dance. When one element of the system changes or when one dance partner starts doing a different dance, the other people in the system, they can't do the same steps. It doesn't add up. So if you and your kid are used to doing the salsa and you start doing the waltz, they have to rebalance because you're not there to combat. So, for example, if the usual song and dance is that they get home from school, they walk into the kitchen and you're home, or you get home from work, whenever at the end of a day you guys reconvene, and that's when the fighting starts. And they say, why is there never any good food in the kitchen? And you're used to taking offense to that and saying, what do you mean? I just bought your favorite thing yesterday, or why don't you buy food that you like? Instead of throwing that back at them and starting an argument by changing the dance in whatever flavor you like. Sometimes I just agree with my kid if they're right. You're right. All the food in the house sucks. I'm hungry too. Should we go to the store and grab something better? Do you want to come with me? That would end an argument really fast. Or just saying, bummer that you think that. I love you and I know you'll figure it out. It's funny. A lot of my clients lately have been saying, oh, my kid is always hungry and I'll say, do you want this? And they'll say no. And I'll say, do you want that? And they say no. And I go through like 50 things and they don't want any of it. And I don't know what to do. Yeah, stop that. Stop it. Suggest a couple things to them and say, well, I got you bagels because I know you like those. They're in the fridge. And when they're like, I don't want bagels. Then you say, okay, well, there's a protein bar or there's some apples. And they're like, I don't want that. Then you say, okay, well, I'm sure you'll figure it out. I believe in you. If you're hungry enough, you'll find food to eat. Because, contrary to what your brain is telling you, there's actually a lot of food in the house. And then you let them figure it out. And then the next time you're putting in a grocery order or going to the store, you can say, hey, is there anything that you want? Or if they just got paid from their job, you can say, hey, go pick out some snacks that you like. With that paycheck of yours, go get some food that you like. Put it in the cupboard. You can even write your name on it so your siblings don't eat it, right? There are workarounds. But we can't just sit and think our kids should be grateful for the food that we provide. Why aren't they grateful? Because then we come at our kid with argumentative, self-righteous energy. We have to change the dance. When you change, when you don't expect them to be different, which is a very rational belief, the whole relationship shifts. It has to. It can't stay the same. Another good analogy is that a relationship is a tug of war. When you are at odds with your spouse or your teen and they're tugging and so you tug back and they tug harder so you tug even harder and you're trying to see who wins, both of you lose. Both of you lose. Relationships should not be tug of war unless you're standing on the same side of the rope, pulling against things like social injustice. Does that make sense? Don't grip tight. Don't pull harder. Don't hope that you pull the other one in to your way of thinking. I promise your teenager will double down. The second that I dropped my end of the rope, the second that I stopped doing the tango, it was game over. You cannot do the same dance or have a tug of war with someone who refuses to pull back or repeat the same awful dance steps. One of my clients described it perfectly. She said, my daughter didn't change at first, but when I stopped reacting to her anger, she slowly stopped being so angry. It's almost like fighting fire with fire doesn't work. She didn't wait for her daughter to go to therapy, finally, even though she'd been asking her for months. She didn't wait for her daughter to have some big breakthrough. She changed herself. And because you as the parent are such a rippling, powerful effect in your home, everything starts to rebalance around you. Can you imagine the relief of no longer being held hostage by your kids' moods? Glory be! Or finding peace today, not someday, maybe when they grow up. They finally recognize. That's the power of taking responsibility for your side of the relationship. And the best way to do this is to decide that they don't get to dictate your emotions. And don't give anybody, your spouse, the news, or your teenager, the power to decide how you feel. That they have to change in order for you to feel better. There is one step to doing this, and this is to ground yourself in unconditional love. For me as a Christian, the best way for me to do this is through my Savior and heavenly parents. When I can think of the divine who love me and know me, and they love me no matter what, and I've made mistakes and I'm not perfect, and I can still feel their love for me in my life, not their judgment, not their hatred or wrath or disappointment, but just love and patience and long-suffering. When I can feel that for me, it is so much easier for me to grant it to my children and then to those at large. And when I am grounded in that love, I truly believe that nobody has to change first for me to feel better, because nothing feels better than unconditional love. And the irony is that is the absolute best dance to invite your child to learn new steps, to invite your neighbors and your community to consider loving others as well. And this is how we evoke the most change in our hearts, with our children, and in our communities. So I invite you to consider this. If you need help applying this, it doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you unable to. It makes you very human. And I would love to walk you through these steps. Currently, I'm taking new clients. You can find me at heatherfraser.com. In 45 minutes, we can decide if it's a good fit and if that's something that interests you. Either way, that 45 minutes will be extraordinarily valuable to your relationship and your peace of mind. So I invite you to take advantage. There's no strings attached.